Well, yeah, Rio was one of the most tiring shows I've ever done in my life, and because it was both physically and emotionally more draining than most of the other shows that we've done with Maiden. I mean, just the quantity of people there, plus the pressure of recording the CD and doing the DVD and everything else, the occasion, the fact that it was 2 a.m, the fact that we'd spent 3 days basically holed up waiting for this big release of energy, made the big release of energy bigger at the end of the day. I was really shagged out at the end of it, and it's very seldom that there's not some bit of me that's perky at the end of a show, but I was really gone. I was just like a little shell walking back to the hotel room. Didn't want to party, didn't want to do anything like that, just was sitting there going, wow. Oh God, if you play in front of 250,000 people and you don't get an adrenaline rush, there's something seriously wrong with you. You're probably dead already. So of course it did, yeah. The best album that the band recorded live was, of course, Live After Death. With the way the band was playing, with the way in particular, I mean, the way that I was singing, I was really happy with the vocal performances on most of the shows during the tour. The fact that the band lineup had changed, the configuration of us had changed. This was the first time we'd had 6 of us on stage. The new album, Brave New World, was hailed as a great return to form, and so there were a lot of big up factors about the band, and I felt it was a really good opportunity to nail where the band was live at this point in time, because it's in a very different place to where it was in 1985, and to do it properly, to do it in a way where it would really sound as good, if not better, than 1985. So I was particularly pleased that we managed to do the shows, and there is nothing at all been added to them. Steve took the tapes away with Kevin Shirley, and the next thing I heard was the mix. Well, it was extraordinarily important because Kevin captured the Maiden sound live in the studio and really is quite intimately acquainted with our capabilities and the nature of our equipment. Every guitarist has strengths and weaknesses of their equipment when it comes to being recorded live. And Kevin's really up on all that stuff. He's a great live engineer, and he is one of the best mixing guys in the world. So, for all those reasons, Kevin's the man. Well, since Rock In Rio, I've been doing all manner of little things. Been doing bits of songwriting on my solo stuff. I've been doing a lot of promo on the best of Bruce Dickinson's solo record, and of course I've been doing a lot of promotion recently for this live album. So between that and various hobbies and other projects and bits and bobs, I've been working on a radio show as well. So I'm working for 6 hours a week on the radio at the BBC. So that takes up a fair amount of time. I managed to fill in all the gaps. Well, I found out about Clive's illness when Rod called me into his office and told me that Clive had multiple sclerosis, and you could have, picked me up off the floor. I was completely out of the blue, and this was before Christmas last year. And he then said, well, how do you feel about getting back together and doing a gig to raise some money for him? And I went, well, yeah, of course. I'm sure everybody would be up for that. But how does Clive feel about it? So he then said that he'd speak to Steve, and Steve would speak to Clive, and they would, get some kind of idea whether Clive was into it or not. And out of that came the idea that we would do 1, maybe 2, and it's turned into 3 shows, and we would set up a trust fund to administer the money. The trust fund is going to initially start with money from the shows at Brixton and from the proceeds from the Run to the Hills singles. And the way it's going to work is like this. All the profits from the 3 shows at Brixton, plus the merchandising profits from that as well, all that money is going to go into the Clive Burr Trust. The primary aim of the Trust is going to be treatment for Clive. If at some point, I mean, we don't know how much money we're going to raise, but if the fund becomes, vast and obviously exceeds, the immediate requirements of Clive's treatment, I guess we could sit down and it would be a decision between, Clive and everybody else, whether or not to extend it to perhaps other areas of multiple sclerosis, to giving money to research or something else like that. In addition, as I said, to the Brixton shows and the merchandising, there's also the profits from the single Run to the Hills. And we as a band have donated all of our royalties to the fund. And in fact, EMI UK have also agreed to donate all of their record company royalties to the fund as well, which is, I think, very generous. So it's great that they've done that.
Well, obviously the masses of amounts of people that were there, that was a very impressionable memory. I remember standing up. I came on stage. I was very, very nervous. I think everybody probably was. But if not, I made up for them all. We walked on stage and there's an intro tape that runs for Wicker Man, and normally I would mess around swelling up on the cymbals and stuff, and I'm standing up at the time, and I remember I got through about, 5 or 6 seconds of this intro tape when I actually got up on the drum kit, and I turned around and looked out over the kit and I saw this mass of people, and it was just a sight to behold. Everyone had their hands in the air and they were clapping and shouting and whistling and screaming, and it was just a sea of people's hands up in the air, and it was just an incredibly humbling moment. It really affected me, and I actually just stopped playing. I was like, wow, look at all those people out there. I mean, we played in front of big crowds pretty much around the world, and we had done Rock in Rio way back in '85, and it was not our audience then as it was that night back in January. The memory of the whole tour really is my best memory. It was fantastic, but I've got to say, I think the Earl's Court show was pretty top of the list. It was just a fantastic evening. 20,000 punters, fans, friends, the family of Maiden. Everyone was there. It was just unbelievable. That's probably my highlight. I mean, Rock in Rio, yeah, but in Rock in Rio, it was kind of like we didn't have our own light show, and we couldn't run our own rig, although the PA was massive and was well powered and what have you, and I gather it sounded very good out front, and the live album sounds fantastic, but that was something different. The Earl's Court show for me, I think, was the highlight of that tour. And come close second was the opening show of the American tour at the Madison Square Gardens, which we do believe sold out in like 40 minutes when it went on sale prior to us doing the show. It was, but it was a phenomenal night. That was really, really a great evening too. But my highlight, I think, definitely was Earl's Court. Let's imagine this. You wake up, you get washed, you get on the bus or the plane, you go and do a gig. You do that through the whole tour. That's the party right there, in a nutshell. It was one of the best tours I've enjoyed. So really it was a party all the way down the line. And thoroughly recommend anybody who wants to have a party for a year to go on tour. But you can't go on tour with Maiden, so it probably wouldn't be the same with it. Well, yes, of course, I miss playing live. I mean, that's the essence of my life, really, in terms of my passion for playing. And I've missed playing with the guys, and I've missed touring. It's been lovely being home, but I feel like I kind of got to relearn we learn to live in a way, because it's a totally different environment to what you're used to living on the road. So yeah, I've missed playing. I miss playing a lot. I did my first drum show in 1985 for Pasty Cymbals, and from that time on, I've had an absolutely fantastic time doing them, and I think that's something I like doing. Yeah. So when I'm not working with the boy, even when I'm actually on tour, I've done them, fitted them in around show days and stuff, in between days off and things. So I thoroughly enjoy that. It gives me an opportunity to kind of show off a bit more than I do with the band, and which is really not that difficult, because that's the sort of extent of my playing, really. But no, I get out and talk to the kids about all the equipment and what I use, why I use it, and how to look after it, and show them a few little odds and sods. It's good fun. Oh yes, of course. It's difficult being away from each other. I mean, I really, I love the guys, and it's like they're family. And as we know, when we have family and we don't see them, we miss them. And apart from the fact that Harry still owes me 20 quid, I guess the interest is going to be a bit higher now. Anyway, no, it really is. It's something to look forward to, not just to the playing, but seeing my mates again and my family. I saw Steve, Bruce, and Yannick and Adrian over in November when I was there, so that wasn't so bad. It wasn't quite the year then, but it's going to be nice. Behave yourself, just as a demon. Yeah, well, that's true. Trust went out and we did a couple of tours, one on Killers and one on Number the Beast. But we used to go out with Eddie heads on, Eddie masks. All right, boys and girls, don't want no slight, argy-bargy comments from any of you, all right? Like, I don't need it. Yeah, right, I've heard that so many times, you wouldn't believe. Yeah, I'll come here and say to my face, I'll sort you out a new one. Anyway, I'd wear this Eddie head, put a leather jacket on, and go out with one of these light cans, like the ones that they stick over above the, on the stage. And you'd go out and you'd have to drag the cord behind you, and you'd shine it on the audience, go up, shine it in Harry's face, or in Adrian or Davey. And it was good fun. And so I cavorted, yes, I did. I did cavort, very much so. I cavorted more than anybody cavorted, especially on stage and off stage. You wouldn't believe how many cavorts I had off stage. Oh my goodness, without the Eddie mask too. It was fun. No, I didn't really think anything, in terms of longevity or whether we'd end up just doing the one album together or what. My main focus was on doing the best I could do, and making the best album that we possibly could at the time. And that's been the same way that it's been. We've just carried that on over through the longevity of our career, and nothing's changed. I mean, looking back, yes, it's a phenomenal success that we've been able to go out and do what we love to do for this long and be getting away with it. No, it's just a dream. It really is. And, we are blessed. The good Lord's given us our health and great music and great players. And I'm honoured to be there living the dream. And as long as we can still rock and roll, we'll be out there. What inspires us is the music, the touring, playing live. We're really definitely a live band. That's where we love to shine. And although we like to go in the studio and make the best albums we can, I think live is where you find it's at with Maiden. We try and produce great albums in the studio, and I think we've done a pretty good job of that. But touring is where it's at, and we just adore one another, and they all love the drummer so much that the inspiration is each other and the music. And we got a great management team. We got a great relationship with our record label, which today is very, very, in itself, an inspiration, an accolade, if you like, that you have such a great rapport with the people that you work with, and that take care of getting your products out there to people, and it's a great team effort. That's what makes it so special as well. There's people that work on sort of behind the scenes of it all. We've got some great folks, and it's been a joy. And I wish it could be another 30 years, 20 years. As I say, I can see us at the Ruskin Arms now. And Steve turning around, going, yeah, playing a bit faster tonight, ain't it, Nick? Thank you, good night.
We actually flew from the hotel to the gig in a helicopter because there were so many people, going to and from the site, and that was pretty amazing. The helicopter landing in the back of the hotel, and we zoomed off and flew over the crowd, and that was pretty amazing. All those people there, and we got taken backstage. It's probably the biggest backstage area I've ever been in. It was like an aircraft hangar, and there was several bars and all sorts of stands there. I think there was even a band playing back there, like a Brazilian band. And of course, the gig itself was just, when you get up on the stage, it was people as far as the eye could see. It's just packed. It was just never seen so many people. I think that's what I remember most. Yeah, I was a little bit nervous. Occasionally I get nervous before a show. I mean, I never usually get to a show until an hour before we play, and because you can waste a lot of energy just hanging around for hours before a show, burning up nervous energy, and I find that very draining. So I like to show up. I mean, in the case of Rock In Rio, I stayed in my room till an hour before the show and then just jumped in there. It sounds decadent, And I sort of went from my hotel room to the helicopter to my dressing room, but that really is the best way to do it, and so you save your energy for the show, and you do get a bit wound up, but that's good. I think you need a few nerves, because once you get out on the stage, there's this incredible feeling of relief. The waiting's over. Get on there, get on with it, and it's great. It feels great. It's like a release. So, but yeah, I do get a little nervous. It was a great tour. I mean, especially in Europe. I remember we did a football stadium in Sweden, and just the difference in ages between people. I mean, we had kids at the front, 14, 15, some younger, going right back to the older end of our audience, and I think that's great that we're still getting young fans. I don't know how we do it, but they're into the band, and. We played Bercy in Paris, and that was just incredible, the audience reaction. I think it might have been the first night of the European tour, and we'd had a bit of a break. We weren't even, to our sort of standard, we weren't really on that night. It was a bit loose, but the audience reaction was just incredible. They loved the band there, so it was, there were some great nights on that tour. It's interesting. I mean, I haven't had a break from the band for 8 or 9 years. You almost become like an outsider, and you're looking at the band differently. When I was in the band before, obviously you're closely involved in it. Having had a break and then coming back, you're more objective about it, and it's quite interesting. I certainly, appreciate being in the band. I appreciate the audiences more. I mean, the audiences are so into it, and they make it, every gig a real occasion, I did a lot of thinking about that when once we knew we were going to get back together. I thought, well, how am I going to approach it? And I think I really fitted in with what Jan and Dave, because Jan took my place, and he obviously sort of filled my role that I used to do in the band. So when I came back, I approached the 3-guitar thing totally differently. So rather than try and reclaim all my old solos and all that stuff, I've kind of fitted around what Dave and Jan do. I don't want to upset it. I think the worst thing would have been to come crashing back in and disturb what was already, working great. But I think I've tried to approach it differently, use different tunings, what I probably wouldn't have done before. Stuff I've learnt in, while I haven't been in the band, because I played a lot of different people. And sort of bring a bit of that to the band, bring a bit of what I've learnt outside, back into the band. And so that's been quite interesting. Yeah, probably in a different way. Obviously, years ago, it was every night was used to go mad. It was always, where's the party? Which room's the party? Now it's more sort of every other night, But I think I enjoy it as much, if not more now. I do bring the family out. I think we all do bring our families out to various parts of the world. My kids have been to America and all over Europe. And it's nice that they actually see what I do for a living, But I enjoy it, but it probably in a different way, Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's just a shame it has to be in these circumstances, and we're all devastated, about the news about Clive, and no one had any hesitation in doing it. Primarily for Clive and to support him, and that's the main reason really. It's more about Clive than us, but at the same time it'd be nice to play again and get the cobwebs out and do some shows. Well, my son's 12 now. He's really into music, loves music, so I'm exposed to quite a lot of different bands. Bands like Linkin Park he likes. My girls like them too. I think they're pretty cool. And they're doing something different with that sort of rap rock kind of music. There seems to be a lot of bands about now. And a lot of media, a lot of music on TV. But I do like my traditional music as well. They call it traditional classic rock now. Gary Moore, Joe Satriani. I still love listening to that. Glenn Hughes. No, I don't think so. At that time in the 80s, kind of wrapped up in what we were doing a lot of touring and recording, kind of in a bit of a bubble, Again, having been outside the band and sort of looking in for quite a few years during the 90s, I can kind of see why the band is still around. The band's always been true, close to their fans. They've never gone away from the sort of musical direction too far. And lost their fans. Always kept the hard, amazing hardcore following of loyal fans, and I think that's why the band's still going, And there's not too many bands who have done that. It's a pretty rare thing, actually, in the music business, in the ups and downs, and the trends and the comings and goings of the music business. Not too many bands that can say that, but we always went out and played to our fans and took the music out there. Even, if we, on particular albums, we didn't get any radio play, we always go out there and because the fans are there. And if you can go out there and put together a good tour, we've always done that. So, and I think they appreciate that. And, I think that's why the band's lasted so long, Well, I think we're really enjoying it. It's the most important thing. And as I said before, there's still a lot of people out there who seem to want to hear the band, so that's inspiring. The challenge of making a new album, it's not always easy and it's not always smooth. There's always that element of the unknown when you go into the studio, or you bring a song in to play to everyone. And it's always that thing in the back of your mind is, well, no one's going to like it, and but that's the excitement in a way, that's the challenge, and it keeps you going. And if you've got a deadline to make an album, you've got to make a good album, and you really push yourself to that end, and we all push each other. So certainly, this next album, we're all looking forward to doing that.
Hello, I'm Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden, and here's a track from our new album, Rock In Rio. Hi there, I'm Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden, and here's our latest single, Run to the Hills. Hi there, Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden here. This is one of my favourite songs off the new live album, Rock In Rio. This is Brave New World. Hi there, Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden here. This is one of my favourite songs off the new live album, Rock In Rio. This is Blood Brothers. Hi there, Bruce Dickinson here from Iron Maiden. This is one of my favourite tracks of all time. This is Rothchild.
Up the Irons, sempre.